Welcome back, you guys. Happy Sunday. And welcome back to our YouTube channel. We're here for What is Canadian Whiskey Part 2. Part 2. Yeah, we're a little bit of multiculturalism there, a little bit of different languages.
Yeah,
Part 2. So we started off, we're going to do this series of Canadian whiskeys to sort of reflect some of the stuff that's been going on politically, cross-border lately, without going too deep into that and getting too heated. And we decided we're going to sort of feature a bunch of Canadian whiskeys, ones that we think are worth mentioning and we think are worth buying. And if you are typically a bourbon drinker and you're here in Canada and having trouble finding bourbons, then there's some alternatives that you might like and you might find are even better.
you might do that. Just one note, we are located on the unceded territory of the Klahama Nation as our way of acknowledging that and our appreciation as well for being located where we are. So
last time we did a couple of Vancouver Island Whiskies, the Shelter Point and Macaloni's. Oh, by the way, I got an email from Macaloni's not long ago. So, like in the last video, I talked about how they won Best Whiskey, and the whiskey that won it was called the Peat Project. It was a Muscatel cask finish.
That was January of this year?
Yes, at the Canadian Whiskey Awards, the email told me that it's back in stock and available again. So if it's something you guys want to try, I know I might try and pick up a bottle. Go to their website. Just Google Macaloni's Distillery and you should be able to find it. Anyway, before we head too further east, I think there's a couple more whiskeys on Vancouver Island. There's actually quite a few distilleries on Vancouver Island, craft distilleries. And so we wanted to feature a couple more. So the first whiskey that we're going to feature today, is...
Right now,
is Stillhead. A Vancouver Island whiskey. And this is a single malt. I don't know if you can read that gold label there, but it says American Oak Single Malt.
For those of you that haven't heard about Stillhead, it's actually located in Duncan. And it's the Colbank family that have taken this up. And we'll see. Typically, they use new American oak for their barrels, in particular for the first 3 years, and then they go into a finishing range of other kinds of casks as well. Yeah,
I've been to the distillery there in Duncan, and they opened in 2017.
Yeah.
And they have a beautiful kind of a hybrid column still set up. And their sort of claim to fame, their flagship is actually it's called a Wild Blackberry Gin.
Okay.
So they do a blackberry gin that's phenomenal. It's won all kinds of awards. And back when I went and visited them was I think it was not long after they opened. And kind of introduced myself, told them what I do as far as whiskey blogging and stuff like that goes and stuff like that. And the distiller, which I guess would be Colbank at the time, got super excited and showed me around and like grabbed the ladder, climbed up into the top shelf, pulled down these little 30-liter casks of whiskey that he was making. I can't remember what it was being aged in. I think it was like a maple syrup barrels or something like that. Yeah. But it was really good, and you could tell that he was very passionate about what he did, and I was really excited to see when they started making whiskey as well, single malt whiskeys. So here it is in the glass, beautiful color. This is a little wee bottle because we couldn't get our hands on a bigger one, but I recently was able to get my hands on a bottle of a private cask from Wee Rock Whiskey Club on Salisbury Island. They did a private cask of Stillhead that was phenomenal as well. So
So
this would be 100% barley.
Yes.
American oak. So I'm guessing they probably got their hands on a full-size cask for this.
And it certainly smells like virgin oak rather than ex-bourbon. It's got a lot of that cask nose to it.
For sure, yeah. It's pretty strong flavor notes on the nose.
Mm-hmm.
Bottled at 46% ABV.
Shall we give it a go?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Different BC. Mount Washington is kind of best salt formation. So 90 million years ago.
Yeah, really good.
Impressive.
Yeah, very unique flavor. Pretty young, I would say, still.
It is. Yeah.
If I had to guess, maybe it was just 3 or 5, like somewhere between 3 and 5 years.
Or, in that range anyway, yeah. Because if they kept it in the virgin oak, or at least American oak, to begin with, that was for 3 years, and then they transferred it. But I'm not sure what they transferred it to, or whether they just simply left it at that. But you're right. It is a young whiskey, but definitely with lots of taste and
Yep, it has all the right
complexity.
all the right notes, in my opinion, and none of the bad ones. So it tells me that they know what they're doing when it comes to making the cuts when they're doing the run on the stills and stuff like that. There's no faints in there or
No.
sulfury notes or.
It has at first I thought it had a short finish, but I'm not sure because I'm still tasting it. So it's sort of a two-tone or two-level kind of finish to it, which grips you in the beginning and then softens and just kind of hangs
It's just
there.
the right amount of attitude, in my opinion. Like I think 46% was probably the perfect ABV choice. One thing I really like about it is a lot of craft distilleries sometimes have a tendency to overexpose the whiskey to the oak. Whether that's because they use smaller barrels or just leave it in there too long or the wrong type of oak, or I don't know. But this one I think is just perfect. There's really nice subtle oak spices in there and oak notes, but it's not overpowering. There's definitely some really nice honey sweetness in there as well, and some vanilla notes. Yeah, I like it.
Well done.
Yeah, whenever you're trying craft whiskeys, whenever I'm trying craft whiskeys, I have a tendency to maybe be unfair or a little biased, or expecting the worst and then being pleasantly surprised sometimes. So, and this is one of those instances where I was surprised.
We've had our ups and downs with some, but this is in the category of it's worth trying.
Well, and like I said, we've been doing this a long time now, and I gotta say, BC craft whiskey has come a long way. And so kudos to all you guys out there in the trenches doing your thing, because some of the stuff we had earlier when like the distilleries were new is kind of sometimes hard to drink. So but anyway, on to the next one. The next one's really cool artwork, and I'm really excited. I haven't tried this one before, and so we're going to be trying it first time on camera here. And this one is called Sanctuary. It's a 2024 limited release from a distillery in Victoria called Fermentorium Distilling Company,
Which is part of the Phillips Brewing and Malting.
Yeah, so for those of you that have had Phillips beer, like Blue Buck or a couple of the other beers they produce, they've also gotten into making whiskey as well. And so we're going to try this one out and let you guys know what we think. So years ago, I used to help organize the Victoria Highland Games, which is coming up in May long weekend for those of you that are interested. And they usually do whiskey tastings there too, by the way, if you're down that neck of the woods. But I organized for the professional athletes that were coming into town, organized a craft brewery tour because there's quite a number of craft breweries in Victoria, and the first stop was Phillips Brewing Company, and pretty cool story. The startup of the brewery and stuff like that. They basically used credit cards to get the thing up and going, and they were that close to failing, but they didn't, and it paid off. A big gamble. But yeah, they actually had a still in the brewery, but even back then, and we're talking about getting into doing distilling and stuff like that too. So it's cool to see that they actually saw that through, and
Well, the fellow that started up Phillips Brewing was Matt Phillips, and he's been at it for 21 years. So that's a good run. I think he might have sold it recently around 2021 or 2023 to Yellow Point Partners, who.
Yeah, I don't think anybody
They're
can
up
really. I don't think anybody could really call them a craft brewery anymore. I think
They're over.
they have roots, but definitely on a larger scale now. I think so. So this is their whiskey, and it's called Sanctuary, and we're not sure why it's called Sanctuary. We tried to do our homework and figure out if there was something behind it, or why there's an owl on the bottle.
Oh yeah.
It's actually a really cool artwork.
Yeah.
And Phillips is always really known for a lot of their really cool artwork on their beer cans and stuff like that. But we don't know why it's called Sanctuary or why there's an owl, but
We hope to find
cool.
out by the time we have our next day.
yeah. So this one's very different on the nose than the Stillhead one. They get some really interesting spices right away.
Wow.
And
Sorry.
and a wow.
I got a wow out of that one. There is wine.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
Yeah.
And there's almost like a hoppiness in there.
Yeah.
And
That's right. It's a combination of malt and brew.
yeah. Yeah, that's super unique and different,
Oh,
and I don't hate it.
No.
There's a bit of a greenness in there.
Yes.
But again, that I kind of go to hops when I taste it. I almost feel like it's. And this whiskey is actually a combination of casks, if I'm not mistaken. They use American oak, bourbon casks, and then they also use an imperial stout and a rosé wine barrel.
The other thing to note about this fermentorium is that they make their own malted barley. And they draw a lot of their barley from local farmers, and they're probably one of the few.
I think it's probably the only one that does.
Craft distillery to use their own malted barley.
Yeah.
Which, good for you guys. This
Yeah,
is
that's
wonderful.
really, really cool for whiskey geeks, because malting is super important to the whiskey making process, and this whiskey is 100% in-house made, and that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Most distilleries will buy the malt, or get their barley malted if they grow it on a farm at a malting facility.
They're usually in Armstrong.
In
That's
Armstrong,
one
yeah.
of the few ones.
I think there's one down in Washington too, but
Okay.
with the way things are going right now, I don't know how much of that's happening.
No, that's
but-
why we're focusing on Canadian whiskey
Yeah,
right now.
yeah. No, but yeah. Anyway, so yeah, really cool whiskey to kind of geek out on if you guys are interested and you see one on the shelf. I haven't seen this one very much. It was a pretty cool find for Greg when they were on the island here not long ago.
Can't get over that taste though. It is. It's a unique.
It reminds me of
flavor profile.
yeah. It's almost crisp and refreshing.
Yeah, it is.
And it reminds me of a Two Brewers whiskey, which we'll probably have on one of these videos as well. They're from the Yukon that I had. It was one of the first Two Brewers whiskeys that I tried, and they called it Innovative. And they actually added hops right to the mash. And it kind of this whiskey kind of reminds me of that one. So pretty cool.
So to the Fermentoria and also to Stillhead, thank you.
Cheers.
Cheers.
And I look forward to the next video. We're probably going to move off the island and work our way to the mainland BC anyway.
Eastward?
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you guys have any suggestions or any whiskeys you think you might want us to do on these Canadian whiskey videos as we head east, don't hesitate to let us know and or request. And don't forget to like and subscribe. Blah, blah, blah.
And for those of you that are new to this video, this is Adam, blue collar. I'm Greg, the other guy.
Just in case you didn't know.
Just in case you didn't know.
Take care, guys.